You spend thousands on your camera equipment. You spend hundreds on going on courses. You do so much for your business. And then someone asks you how much you charge, and suddenly you go, ooh, ha, and you charge less than the petrol to get to the job in the first place, or worse, you do it voluntarily. So why do photographers undercharge? It is not a gear problem. It is not a talent problem. It is not, dare I say, a market problem. And I say this with love, it's a you problem. So today we're going to talk about why photographers undercharge, why we actually do it, and what we can do to stop doing that as of right now. According to the Association of Photographers, the average UK photographer's rate card is somewhere between £400 and £800 per day. But so many fall below that. This is especially true when we're talking about photographers in the early stages of their career, be it right at the beginning or at the mid-level. We are seeing lots of photographers charging so little. I literally am on Facebook now, scrolling, and there is a photographer here offering a half-day shoot for £75. Now, we've got people handing over galleries, whole galleries, for less than the cost of an Adobe full subscription, which I know some of you are going on mad about, but honestly, haggle, do good. But that's shocking. If you tell clients it's worth £75, they pay £75, they think they've got a bargain. That is a big problem for you in the future as a business owner. The pricing problem isn't coming from the market, it's coming from us photographers. We have created this beast. So why do highly talented, intelligent people undersell themselves in this business? Because honestly, I don't get it, but I do get it because I looked into it. That's why you like these videos. I have 5 reasons why people do this. And while I think maybe you're not guilty of all of them, I think maybe 1, 2, maybe even 3 of them may apply to you. And I want you to sit with them and understand them. Because honestly, when I was researching this, I was like, I did that. I definitely did that. We are taught that passion negates payment. There is this deep embedded cultural idea that if you love something, asking for you to be paid for it kind of diminishes it and taints it. Somehow being commercial is somewhat grubby. And I did touch on this in a previous podcast where I talked about how people sometimes regard wedding photography, one person in particular, as a lower form because it's not fine art, it's not something like that. I'm kind of like, I'm getting paid to do what I love. I don't see what the problem is. But for some people, they really struggle with that. Your mortgage doesn't care that you are passionate. Your mortgage needs paying. Your rent needs paying. Your subscription to Adobe needs paying. Your phone bill needs paying. Your camera eats and consumes batteries and it needs that to be paid for. But I do think people see it as, hey, you love doing it, you should do it for free. And how often I'll see people going, oh, my friend loves taking photos, she'll do it for free. No. I once got asked to shoot an entire wedding as a wedding gift because I love it. And therefore I should shoot it. I don't know anyone else was handing over a £1,500 gift to this couple, but because I loved it, I should do it. And I jokingly said, well, Pierre over there is a breast surgeon. Maybe while he's here, he could perform some breast surgery, you know? And she was like, I said, well, he loves his job. You're not asking him. Oh, it's because, needs to say that friendship didn't last very long, but it wasn't the first time they'd asked me to do photography for free. It was kind of expected that if I was invited, I would bring my camera. A big factor in this is definitely imposter syndrome. And I'm going to tell you, it has hit me and it has hit me hard. It doesn't matter that I'm award winning. I mean, who isn't at this point in the career? It doesn't matter that I have 2 top selling books. It doesn't matter that I have a podcast. It doesn't matter that I stand on stage and speak to thousands of people. It doesn't matter. I still have that little voice that goes, hey, Khandie, you're not doing good enough. You can't charge this rate. And honestly, I even felt it last night when I was quoting for a big job. I was like, oh, it's too much money. What if they see that I'm a fraud? And it's like that voice. It's a liar, honey. Complete liar. Do not pay attention to it. It is a liar. A liar. It is there to make you feel bad. You can charge what you need to charge. I think that voice comes into effect because here in the photography industry and the creative industry, we are conditioned to compare ourselves to everybody. And social media has definitely helped with that. We are scrolling and seeing them, people doing all this work. Like, oh, I can't trust because I don't do work as good as them. Blah, 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 blah. Like, we are being conditioned by our own need for being good on the algorithm to somehow like justify our charges. No. We can charge what we need to charge. All right. Stop comparing ourselves to other people. We have no idea what their financial situation is. And a lot of people are a little dodgy on what their financial situation is. I also think when you don't feel like you're good enough, the first thing you do is compensate, and you feel like you need to be cheaper to validate yourself, and you end up giving away more than you should. And it causes a massive problem for you. You cheapen yourself because you're worried that someone might notice that you're not good. Let the offer hang in the air. Let it breathe. Okay. And 9 out of 10, the client will probably just accept it. In my experience, like, it's done. I break down the cost just enough for them to understand. I'm not going into the nitty gritty because as long as you can explain the cost to a layperson, that's how I do it. I just think we need to be accepting of the fact that the imposter voice is a liar. Just accept it. It's a lie. Bullshitter liar. The problem is when you lower your prices, you are going to be spending a lot of time with low paying clients. Now, there's nothing wrong with those if that's your business model, but if you don't want to be super busy all the time and you want some free time and balance, it is a absolute common saying in this industry that low paying clients are going to be the ones that charge you the most, because there are rarities in that. I should just say that. But so often they don't value it. They're booking based on price, not on what they're getting, right? They don't look at it as art. They just want the pictures. It's a very different mentality of client. A client who likes what you do, understands it costs money. A client who just needs the photos will argue on price. For me, it doesn't matter how good you are, they will nitpick or they will find a problem with it because they want to have the lowest cost possible, because the photos in their head do not have any value, or a value significantly less than what you're placing on it. So consider that when you start going after these lowball clients. Reason free, and I've said this loads on the podcast, it's a great time to go listen to this and everything, and I've said this loads on this channel, so please subscribe, is we don't know our numbers. We genuinely sit there and we think we have a number in our head and we pull it out and we go, right, that's it. And then we look at everyone around us and go, oh, wait, again, the comparing, and we go, oh yeah, that's the one we're going to use. That's the number I'm going to use. No, you need to know exactly what your numbers are, because you need to know how much it costs to be you as a photographer, all your prices, everything from your phone bill. In fact, I have a list here of what I was going to go through. Okay. So equipment, insurance, software subscriptions, travel, studio costs, marketing, client management software, admin and editing time. The list could go on. These are just a few I grabbed out of the air, okay? Like for me, all of those need to be put in a spreadsheet, and every time they go up, you put it in, right? You can only shoot so many times a month, right? So you need to work out what your yearly cost is, divide it by 12, and then go down in the month, go, right, that's what I need to make a month in my business for my business just to exist, okay? You should and are told by HMRC in the UK, you have to run at a profit or aim for a profit. You cannot break even. So you also should be making more money than that. But on top of that, all your costs back home, everything from your personal phone bill, your Netflix, your fuel in your car to go off see your friends, your insurance on your car, all those things that are both business and pleasure, but also your rent, your mortgage, all of that, you then need to add into that, because you also need to make enough money from the business to support that lifestyle, okay? Then you'll start realizing that you are undercharging massively. And that will help you find out how much your cards are, in your rate card is, because if you say hypothetically have to make £2,000 a month, that's a minimum of £500 a week, right? Obviously less tax, national insurance. So I'm just saying, after you've done all that and the end result is £500 a week, okay? And that's just to break even on everything, okay? So if you are not drawing that in, I would be concerned. Okay, you need to make that and make some more. It shouldn't just be, I made £500 this week, it's enough. No, that's to break even. You need to be making a profit, okay? You also need to put something away for savings and pension, which is something I've covered in an episode, because if we are not talking about our retirement, we have an issue. Our business plan should show our retirement. Please go check out the podcast that I will be releasing in July on pensions and retirement, because it's really important. It's something that no one's talking about and I cannot find it anywhere online. Please think about your retirement, because we will not be doing this forever. One area that a lot of people fail on their costs with is that the fact they don't look at editing and administration costs. Like, just think about start a timer next to you when you sit down at the computer and load that card straight in there. How long does that take, right? I don't care if you can do other things while you're doing that. Just load in how long that takes, right? Then I want you to think about every time you email them, log that in. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes here, 5 minutes again. It all adds up, and that should all be part of your costs, okay? Me traveling into the studio and unlocking it and cleaning it costs me. I have to put that cost in somewhere. The cleaning equipment, I have to put it in somewhere. It cannot just be little bits of money that I just don't account for. You need to run a business as a business. It is horrible at the start. So I recommend now is just start putting in your fees as you go through. Putting in, like, I paid Adobe this, I paid DaVinci Resolve or whatever it is. My insurance is this, my phone is this. Put them in. And then as they come in, you can update them as they go up and down. They'll never go down. Prices go down. Never. Your fees should go up every year unapologetically, even if you were just trying to break even. It is so easy to run your business at a loss, and most of you might find you are if you don't know your numbers. Please, please, please do yourself a favor and do this, because your future self will appreciate it, and you will be less inclined to work for crappy rates, and you will start pricing accordingly and attracting the right clients. Okay. I turned down a client who offered me £200 to shoot an evening event because they wanted commercial license on it. And it was just, and everyone go, oh, it's £200, great, great, great. It was in the evening. It was going to have to be, it's a bit more skill required. I had to bring some lenses that cost me, what, $2,500? And you're going to pay me £200 to shoot. And they go, yeah, but it's a short event. It doesn't shorten my admin time, doesn't shorten my administration time behind, my editing time. The fact you want a fast turnaround. I had something like 24 hours to turn all the images around. Like, come on now. No. Reason 4 is a big one as well. We're worried that we will lose the booking. We are so scared we will lose that booking. I feel like you quote, and then you send it to them, and then they go silent, and your brain just goes, oh my God, I need to discount. I need to do something. And before you know it, you're running at a loss because you've added product, or you've jumped in with a discount before they've even asked for one. I want to say this really carefully. Clients that are right for your business may negotiate on price, but won't instinctively. Okay. They understand they're paying professional. They're getting a professional rate. For me, if you're worried about your price, put your price on your website. That'll often cut people down. I do it. I advocate for it. I'm like, I don't want to spend admin time doing that. That's money that I need to spend doing admin. That's money into my business that I need to make more money on to compensate for that. If a client says to you, oh, it's just a few hours, can you bring it down? It's only a short event. That should tell you something about that relationship you're going to have with them. And it isn't going to go well for them. They just see photography as just the hours that you are there, because they don't care about the back office. They don't care about the image. They just want what they want, and that's it. I mean, it'd be like me saying to a roofer, yeah, you just put the roof on. You don't do anything else. They're like, well, I import the stuff. I train the staff. I bring, no. You just put the roof. Like it doesn't work. We know, right? But the people who tell us that it's just a short event, no. You don't get to have less cost because it's a shorter event. Like, I decide that, but equally, there's still stuff behind the scenes I have to do, right? It isn't straight out a camera. Stop it. Losing a client that doesn't respect you or respect what you do is not losing a client. It's saving you from having a bad one. We have normalized undercharging. So that's my reason 5. We as an industry have normalized it. We have always got people who do it less and less and less. If someone hands out work that's pretty decent at £100, they are not going to want to pay £400 for decent work. They are like, well, I got that for 100. I'm cool. We are driving it down. And those £100 photographers are driving their business into the ground, because there's no way that's sustainable. And I don't care what they say. I don't care what they say. It is not sustainable. It is not being accessible for everybody. Photography is a luxury. I'm not saying you can't do mini sessions that might do it, but you cannot be running at a loss for yourself. And if you think you're not running at a loss, I ask you to go check your numbers and present them to me. Tell me how you are making money off of those. It might feel nice now, but I've seen people offering to do weddings all over the UK for less than £600, including travel. Do you know how much it is to travel from just Northampton to Glasgow? Like, come on, look at the petrol prices now. In fact, it's got so bad that the government has finally put up the rate to 55p per mile. So it just goes to show you that even they're aware prices have to go up. So your prices should be going up. There is genuine talent out there seriously undercharge themselves because they're so desperate to get the booking, and then they get the burnout and we lose that talent from the industry. That is not a good thing. I'm not asking you to charge $5,000 for your photos if you don't feel comfortable with that and you feel like your work isn't up to that, because again, you still have to understand the market and where you are. But if your outgoings in a month are £400, but you're only making £200 from photography, there's a problem. It's your numbers and what you're charging clients. I do think there's a psychology in why people don't charge. There's a thing about it that we don't feel comfortable charging what we believe it is. And I don't know if that's because we don't feel we're worth it. A lot of us come into photography a lot later in life after careers. Not many of us transition straight from university and college having studied it. So we feel like we don't perhaps fit the mold of a photographer. We're not slick and happening. Maybe you are. I know I am. But we don't feel like we are. So we almost feel like if we undercharge, so we feel like, oh, we're not quite ready to be them, so we can't charge like them. I think there is an element of that. Almost like not only have we got the imposter syndrome voice in our head, but we're actually being the imposter. I think the industry has a image problem problem. It really does. You only have to look around and see what types of people are on speakers or speaker slots, or people who are representing brands. Like, it has started to change for the better, I will just say, recently. But when I first started out, it was very male dominated. It's not me hating on men. I don't know why it was that way. Maybe there was a specific reason it was like that way, but it was very white as well. And I just started looking around and I was like, hey, maybe I don't fit in. And I joked about the fact that I wore the leather crop jacket with the wide brim hat, and I put that in a reel recently about my headshots, and people laugh because I did it. In fact, I put up 4 different headshots I had with the same style of hat on, because I thought that was how photographers look. Because when I was at the shows, I would look around and that's what everyone was wearing. So I thought that's what a photographer wore. Okay. The irony is I'm now wearing a leather beret, so it's not too much of a step sideways, is it? Also, my current pictures actually have me having a big hat on, but it is colourful in my defence. I think somehow we've internalised that if we charge a bit less until we can prove we can be in that professional group, which is absolutely stupid and ridiculous, just charge what you need to charge for your business to succeed, okay? Done. I mean, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. Like, you know, if you've just started out and charging £1,000 probably isn't the best option, because you still have to build up a portfolio and show that you can shoot this stuff. But like, don't be doing it for £10. Listen, I'm with you. I get that this is a hard video to watch sometimes, and you're like, why are you telling me all this, Khandie? You're being really mean. You need this business to succeed. You want this to be your career, then you have to start running it like a business. I say this over and over again with you guys. It is really hard to hear this, right? I get imposter syndrome. I worry about raising my prices. But guess what I did last week? Raise my prices. Why? Because my fees went up for me paying for subscriptions and stuff. It has to go up. I don't go mad about it. I don't go crazy about it. I don't apologize. I don't even use it as an announcement to my clients, like by saying, hey, so my fees go up, blah, blah, blah. I don't put that out there in marketing. Clients know that prices go up. Have you ever seen Starbucks or any of those other coffee brands announce their prices going up? No, their prices just go up and they just leave it on the board, and everyone just goes, oh, my flat white was £3.60, now it's for £3.90 or whatever it is. Like, what are you worried about? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Okay, a client doesn't want to work with you. Okay, right? Okay. So, but when that client does, they pay more. Well, you are going to attract clients who value your work. Client who's going to quibble over a couple of quid probably isn't your best client to have. There's someone who's going to whine about their pictures, in my opinion. So for me, I know this is really harsh, but we're talking business here. Do what's right for your business. Check the prices that you are running. Check them against what you're actually paying out to run this business. And then you might find yourself that you are woefully undercharging for everything. Anyway, see you all in the next video.